Moving slightly away, what about bottom implants? I mean, if those go wrong, you could end up with all manner of problems, couldn't you?
Well, there was a very tragic case, wasn't there, about a young girl who travelled to the US from the UK to have silicone implants in her bottom because she wanted a bigger bootay, as they call it, and sadly it was industrial silicone that was used, and she ended up dying from it, which was very tragic.
This is the problem. How can we safeguard ourselves? If we want cosmetic surgery, how do we make sure we get the right clinic or the right surgeon? And I ask this question on behalf of potential Guernsey patients because, of course, living on a small island like Guernsey, it's not possible to have the bigger cosmetic surgery operations here. You have to travel away.
One of the things we looked at was how many things people would do before they went into surgery and whether there was other things you would think about. Certainly what we learned from the research is there is an awful lot to think about, and so what we'd say before leaping into that is perhaps have a look at the other alternatives for you. What else is there, because it definitely is not a quick fix for those people who are thinking it is. A lot of the procedures we found had follow-up procedures, they had further surgery down the line, it became a rolling 5 or 10 year program, and therefore getting fit, getting healthy, looking after yourself, having a new wardrobe of clothes, getting your hair cut, all sorts of things, might make you feel better about yourself first. But if you have decided that, cosmetic surgery is for you, then I think there is just no substitute for really, really researching and taking the time to go and visit clinics, meet the surgeons and visit more than one.
My jaw was on the floor when you were talking earlier about foot operations that can be done now. I mean, liposuction on toes, for goodness sake, get a life. What other trends are there that might give me the same reaction?
Having Botox into your armpits to stop yourself sweating. Which is sometimes done for people on the red carpet or on their wedding days so they don't sweat onto their wedding dresses. But there is a law of unintended consequences with pretty much all of these surgeries, and one of the ones of Botox in your armpits is the sweat still has to appear. It doesn't disappear from your body, and therefore it will excrete somewhere else, quite often actually in the small of your back, or somewhere else rather unmentionable, which we won't talk about, which is probably even worse, I would have thought, than having slightly damp armpits during a red carpet affair. But that was one of the things that amused us.
Oh.
And I think as well, following on from the foot sort of theme, hands as well, I think there's a lot of speculation that celebrities are now looking at their hands and thinking we've had all this work done to our faces, or we're looking after our faces, but actually our hands are giving away our age. So again, fillers and Botox into the sort of the tops of their hands to make their hands look younger as well.
On a positive note, though, if I looked in the mirror the other day and thought, my eye bags are getting really saggy, and I thought, should I have some work done when I'm a bit older? It could really change the way someone views about themselves. It could have a profound effect upon their confidence as well, couldn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we did discover an awful lot of positive stories, and I think if you do find, as Penny said, you do your research properly, you find a proper consultant surgeon, someone who will, consult with you properly before you even have anything done, not one of these places where you get a salesman and then you don't see your surgeon until the day of the operation. But if you go to the right place and you consider having something done, that's reasonably subtle and natural looking when you're of the right age to have it done, and follow all their advice, we've seen lots of people who've been thrilled with the results. And things like facelifts, what we're being told by the people we spoke to, consultant plastic surgeons are telling us that if you have a facelift in your 50s, you don't need to look even like you've had one done. You can just look like you've been on holiday and you just look fresher and more natural and better. And, the people that you see where the facelifts look really quite unnatural tend to be people who may have had 3 or 4 or even 5 facelifts and have taken it to extremes. So the people who've done it carefully and sensibly in a measured way, many of them from our research are very, very happy with their results. But I think it's like anything, it's moderation is the key.
But there is a tendency on television to see a lot of celebrities without the ability to smile, and it does look really weird. It's all a bit Stepford Wivesy, do you find?
We did, and it's one of the reasons that we actually chose for the 4 books the cosmetic surgery backdrop, and as part of the promotion for them we had a load of publicity shots done. We sort of had nearly 500 photos taken of us in one photo shoot for all different angles and all different purposes, and they went off to a design studio to be prepared ready for use, and they very kindly airbrushed them for us. which is clearly the norm, except when they came back, they had taken out of all of our lines that Joe and I didn't recognise ourselves. Yes, perhaps we looked younger and a bit fresher, but we quite frankly looked odd. And I ended up going round there, because I was nearer the studio, and sitting with them as they put the lines back in again. Now, perhaps we didn't put every single one back in, but, we did put all our laughter lines on our crow's feet back in, because we didn't feel we looked like ourselves.
Have either of you had cosmetic surgery?
No, we haven't. But we've not been put off it either. I think where we are is that there is a lot of good work being done out there, and there is a lot of measured and sensible things that people do that is proportionate, and so we'd never say never. But what it is, definitely taught us is that, we need to be careful, and we put a lot of effort, I think, into other things now, such as, keep exercising and staying fit and, looking good for our age rather than looking younger.
Well, if you've just joined us here on BBC Guernsey, I'm talking to Penny Avis and Joanna Berry, who are the authors of a 4-book series called Never Mind the Botox. When are we going to see this Sex in the City-style TV series of yours?
That's quite a long road. We signed a very exciting joint venture agreement with Future Films in the summer, who we met at the London Book Fair, who were very interested in the concept of our 4 books. They were particularly interested in the fact it was about 4 young professional women. They loved the cosmetic surgery backdrop, and we had written right from the outset a 1-page proposal, sort of an outline as to how the books could convert to TV or film. And so we signed this agreement with them to put the series into what's called pre-production, which we are working on now, looking at potential screenwriters and how the series will adapt. But it's a difficult market. We've got to raise the money for them, which is not easy, as you can imagine at the moment. And it's probably a 2-year road at least.
Joanna Berry and Penny Avis there, and they're the authors of the hugely popular Never Mind the Botox series, talking to me at the end of last week.